I believe you have Home Designer Pro 2018. The big brother of that is X10. That's what I've got open here. So they're going to have pretty much the same capabilities. Now I'm just going to draw a box. You can see the temporary dimensions turn on as I draw walls. I just have that turned on. You can go over here to auto exterior dimensions. I double clicked on this icon to get to it. Edit. And this you can, the dimension points will actually automatically go to wall dimension layers or surfaces as you choose. I'm just going to leave it on the default, and then we'll click and create them. You can see the dimension points are pointing to framing surfaces, not the siding. We'll go back over here and to open defaults again. I'll change it to surfaces. Like for remodeling projects, you'd probably put it on surfaces. On new construction, they generally measure from wall surfaces, exterior wall surfaces. Okay, and we'll click that tool again, zoom in and create new ones. Now it's measuring to surfaces. You can see the dimension points. Let me click on that. See, it's right there on the surface of the siding. Other dimension tools. Let's go to dimension tools. Okay, this first one will just dimension to any point, any dimensionable point that it encounters. Let me draw some interior walls here. Pull that back. You see the automatic dimensions operate automatically. They go to pre-programmed points, not necessarily where you would want them. Sometimes they're useful and sometimes they're useless. Now, this tool here, the default tool, it'll just measure to everything. It's measured from wall surface to wall surface to wall surface to wall surface. And again, that's a default setting. Go over here to defaults and just dimensions, edit, locate objects, or you don't have all this stuff in Pro, but you go to defaults and edit, and it has a locate objects tab as well. Surfaces or wall dimension layers. And it's set to wall dimension layers, so that's what it measured to. I'm going to change it to surfaces. Okay, and done. And then we'll use that same tool. And see, the dimensions are slightly different because this string is measuring to structural surfaces, and this is measuring to surfaces. Now, if you want to move an object with a dimension, all you have to do is click on the object and then click on the dimension that's directly connected to it, and then put in the value that you wish it to have, and it does that. That's the basic programming of dimensions. 15 feet. You get the idea. But most of the dimension tools need to have dimensionable points. Like this tool here, the second one, end-to-end dimension. Depending on where you left click and drag, and then and see, it went to surfaces because I set dimensions to surfaces. To change that, you just click on it and move the dimension point to the center of the wall, or to the opposite edge of the wall, or to the opposite surface of the wall. You can do that manually on the fly, but it's left click drag at dimension point. Okay. And this one, of course, is you left click drag between two walls, and it gives you the angle, a graphic representation of the angle. You take that and click on it, it shows you the opposite angle. Very straightforward. And then this one is interior dimension. It's always going to, depending on how you have it set, it's going to either measure to interior straight framing surfaces or interior surfaces. I think I currently have it set on surfaces, so it'll measure the interior only between two fixed points. It's really good for showing interior measurements. See, all these dimensions are slightly different because I had the dimension point setting slightly different. Now, this is the one I was speaking of in my post, in that you can click anywhere you wish and it establishes a dimension point. And then when you release the mouse, it creates another point. Let me move the dimension over. You can see there's actual points there, and you can move the point relative to the first point however you wish. And click on this point, click on that, extend it to 10 feet, and it moves another a foot in the other opposite direction. And that's useful for when you don't have dimensionable points. And I think that's what you're complaining of, is you want something you just click on and move it. Well, you can see it. This is the tool for you, perhaps. Okay. And next one, I don't use this one very often. Let me delete all the dimensions. I'm going to go over here to edit, delete objects, all fours. I don't know if Pro has this tool or not, but I'm just clearing the decks here. I want to get rid of manual and automatic dimensions. Delete. Okay. Now this tool here, I don't know if Pro has it or not, but you just left click on it to make it active. Okay. See, it progressively dimensions like that. That's why the icon looks like a bunch of arrows, because it's creating a bunch of, let me start over again. I haven't used that tool in a long time, so I kind of forgot what it was about. Yeah, see, it creates a bunch of strings. That's what it's pre-programmed to do. It doesn't do anything else. Now you can still go in there after the fact and alter these dimension points to whatever you want them to. Yeah, it's measuring from the surface. Maybe we'll put it on the. You get the idea. Very malleable. This tool here, I don't think I've ever used it. Running dimensions. Let's see what that does. Oh, I see. It measures from here to here and then displays, and from here to here, that's the value. From here to here, that's the value. Okay, and from here to here, that's the value. Okay, I've never used that tool. You just taught me something. Thank you. And then center point, I don't use that very much, but I have used it. See, I just left click drag. Well, okay. I'd have to do some studying to see how that works. I'm going to put that on the center. Oops, it went snap to the other side. There we go. There, see, when I put it on the center of the wall, it displays that character. We'll move this to the center. And it'll only do that using this tool. Otherwise, you'd have to add that manually. This is pretty straightforward. It just measures from left click to wherever you stop the mouse. And it's just temporary. It won't leave a trail like this one does. And that's it on dimensions. We'll go over, double click on here, and then here you can basically control how it measures, has a tendency or an affinity for surfaces or wall dimension layer, or with openings, the center of openings, the casing, rough opening, or the sides. And depending on what you're doing, you can change these to fit what you want to graphically communicate to your subcontractors or your contractor, your building contractor. And I would recommend that you take a look at all these tabs. And if you're interested, you can open the reference manual. And I changed my arrow types. There's a bunch of arrow types you can pick. The one I use most of the time is that one there. For my dimensions, you can see them in the plan here. Okay, well, that's it. That was my shotgun attempt to try to help you. And I hope I have. If I haven't, well, have a good day anyway.